Hello, my name is Morgan Acosta, and this is my final version of my Spanish courtyard project. To create my floors, I started off with a box shape, where I adjusted the width, depth, and height to get this shape here, and then I moved down to transform and I clicked on pivot. I utilized one of these box position settings to move the pivot over here, and then I made sure that my grid snap was to 1, and then I dragged it to this corner to the best of my ability. I then went down to UV editor and I made sure that I was able to sew together the edges of the floor to the main face. I then applied the texture and then I went down to layout, changed my layout type to transform, and then I adjusted the scale until the texture made sense with the floor. Once I was done with all that, I went up to transform and I clicked on bake to make sure that all the settings were frozen for any future copies of it. For my walls, it was much the same as the floor. However, after creating one, I duplicated it 2 more times, and then I went over to create and clicked on mesh duplicate to make sure that they were their own meshes. After that, I went over to poly edit under poly model, went down to selection filter to make sure I had my vertices selected, changed my view to the back, and then made sure I was snapping to the grid to get these smaller sizes. For the window, I had duplicated one of the walls, and then I went into poly edit, insert edge loop, made sure my position mode was set to even, and that I changed my num loops to 2, and then I changed my insertion mode to retriangulate. And that's how I was able to get the spacing here. And then I went back into poly edit, went up to push pull to create this hole here. Then after that, I went to edge edits, clicked on bevel to bevel this front edge. And then if I needed to make any other edits for the spacing of just the window, select verts and then adjusted when necessary. For the door, it was much the same as the window. However, when I went into poly edit and insert edge loop, I additionally changed the position mode down to proportionate offset to allow for better spacing for a single line instead of multiple. To get the actual door and window to fit into their respective wall pieces, I changed their pivots to a corner, and then I changed the gizmo to the scale, and then I scaled up or down to get it to fit initially into the wall. And then if there wasn't much else I could do here, I just went back into the wall pieces and then I adjusted their vertices to get it to fit better. I used the blueprints as well as the packed level actors to create my scene. I mainly used the blueprints to create my buildings, whether it was the whole thing or some of the pieces within it. And then for one of my packed level actors, the spine on the building, I made into a packed level actor to make it easier for placing the shingles. For the finishing touches for my scene, I did add decals as well as Quixel material blends. The main decals I have are little placemats on my tables. And then for my Quixel material blends, I have some sand or dirt around here to kind of just show main walking paths to add some little grime to my floor texture. I had a couple of favorite tools while I was working throughout this week. One of the first ones was within poly edit, being able to quickly make walls by either inserting edge loops or creating the holes using push-pull just made life a lot easier to be able to do all of it within Unreal instead of going back and forth between different programs. And then being able to quickly adjust edges within also makes it a lot easier. This is Morgan Acosta, and thank you for watching.